What happens to the deficit?
And that is why I have, you will see in the supplementary budget, we have cut down by 300 billion, the borrowing. And what have I done? I have started the trajectory to build our own revenue. You know, 3 things. Everybody is going to pay debt. It's going to pay tax, right? Starting with William Ruto. Everybody is going to pay tax. There will be no waiver for nobody, right? You saw people waiving, you know, the taxes for their businesses, you know. You buy this bank, you sell that bank, you waive taxes. You know, it's not going to happen under my administration. Everybody's going to pay debt. And number 3.
Who did that, for the record?
You know, number 3, you go find out. Number 3, we are installing a new tax system. Because at the moment, we've been collecting 60% of VAT, for example. Collectible VAT. Almost 40% we are not collecting because it goes here, it pilferages there, it goes this way. The system we are now installing is going to drive the collection of VAT to between 90 and 97%.
A follow-up on that.
That should be able to collect an extra 200 to 300 billion. In fact, the target I have given to KRA is that by June this year, we should be able to collect an extra 500 billion by June this year.
How is that going to happen, Mr. President? Because when it comes to increasing the tax base and cutting spending on borrowing, then the country's business environment must be different. Something must change in the country's business environment. What are the administration's plans to improve the ease of doing business, which essentially will see a broadening of the country's tax base?
Precisely, that's what I'm telling you, my good sister Linda. I am telling you, Michelle, sorry, Michelle. That's why I'm telling you, everybody first must pay tax. Yeah, let's begin there. This is not the animal farm, where some animals are more equal than others. This is Kenya. We are all equal. Everybody pays their portion of the tax. And number 2, we are going to make sure that more people come into the space where they work with government to pay tax. What am I doing about it? We are going to digitize all government services in the next 6 months. Yeah, e-citizen, which we had started in, we had started, ran into headwinds, and nobody wanted to sort it out. I came in, I called the e-citizen guys. We have sorted out the e-citizen shenanigans, and in the next 6 months, every government service will be available online, digitally. And with it, every government service where tax is payable is going to be collectible online. I am not going to wait for anybody to say, okay, I will file a return at the end of the month. There will be nothing like that. We will be paying tax as we spend our money, or as we do our business. That way, I can be able to broaden the tax base. I can be able to seal the leakages in the whole system, and watch this space. I intend to collect an extra 1 trillion shillings in the next 24 months, and double our current collection by 2027, to make sure that we begin to drive the country from the cliff of debt back to sanity. And that's how we're going to take this forward.
Mr. President, now that you have engaged us on public debt, I have 2 questions. The first question is, out of our collection currently, about 65% goes to the payment of debt. Now the dollar, when the shilling falls, that also increases our debt by about 30 billion shillings. What is your plan to ensure you get us out of this public debt crisis?
One bullet. We collect every collectible revenue in Kenya, and everybody pays their piece, right? how will we sort this out? I have told you, I have given you because there is no miracle required. There is no magic required. It's just basic numbers. And it's not even difficult numbers of algorithm and what have you. It's just plus and minus, right? We are collecting 2 trillion. We are spending 1.4 trillion to pay debt. We're remaining with how much? 600 million, right? Our salaries alone is 700 billion Kenya shillings. So we have to borrow money to give to the counties. We have to borrow money to do operation and maintenance. We have to borrow. It cannot work like that, my friend. So what do we have to do?
Yes.
We need to make our numbers add up. So first thing, we drive our revenue, to make sure that and cut down on our spending. So I am doing 2 things. I am cutting down on our spending. It was projected that our deficit would be 6 points. I have forced it to come to 5.8. Next year, my projection with my team is that we want to bring the fiscal deficit to 4.4% so that we progressively reduce debt, progressively push our own resources and use our own resources to run our own our development. Because if we continue in this trajectory, Ken, if we continued in this trajectory of borrowing money left, right, and center, we will drive the country into bankruptcy.
Your country, Mr. President, is classified by IMF as a high-risk, debt-distressed country, together with the countries like Ghana, Malawi, Zambia, and the rest. Now, I'll give you an example of just 2 countries. The GDP per capita for Ghana is $2,445.29 US. For Kenya, it's a little lower with about 400, which is about 2,006 US dollars. Now, my question is, Ghana has defaulted. Do you see your country, Kenya, defaulting? And if your country, I'll just give a context. If your country, Kenya, defaults, what will we do? Increasingly, your government has been seen to be facing the West more than the East. You'll have to go renegotiate with China. Now, if this happens, what is your plan? Because Ghana has defaulted. We are categorized in the same frame.
First, Ken, you're telling me your country. So which is your country? I thought it was our country.
You're in charge.
I'm in charge, but it's our country. It is our country.
Yes.
So this country of ours, which you and me have equal stakes, right? We only have different jobs. Will not default. That one I want to give you. We are not in that position that we are going to default as a country. We will not. And the people of Kenya can be assured that our country will not default on our obligations. That is number 1. And the reason why we will not default is because we have already applied brakes on any more borrowing. Our borrowing is going to be limited to only what we must borrow, right? Number 2 is because we are beginning the journey to grow our own savings and to grow our own revenues. By making sure that we have a plan on how to expand our tax base, by making sure that we digitize all government services and bring everybody into the net who is supposed to pay, making sure that the tax system is also friendly, making sure that our plan on saving is accelerated, as you have seen. If you fund a loan, saved in 1 month 600 million Kenyan shillings. Once we scale up, you will see the kind of saving that we're going to do. Once we are finished with NSSF and all the other savings, and we are getting more Kenyans to do business, we will be in a position to expand our tax base. Okay. Apart from the personal loans we are giving on Hustler Fund, scale it up to the loans to the SACCOs, to the chamas, to the other categories, and make sure that more people are engaged in enterprise, and to ensure that we expand our tax base, we grow our revenues, and we finance our development not by debt, not by borrowing, but by making sure that we use our own resources. And finally, on the issue of facing west, east, south, you know, we have the choosing friends. This is not this versus that, you know. The more friends you have, it's like you have more assets. The more enemies you have, it's like you have more liabilities, you know. Who tells you we cannot be friends with China and be friends with America? Why? China and America are doing business. Who are we not to do business with everybody? You know? So you should be able to separate politics, you know, disagreements, you know, political positions with interests. We have interests as a nation. And if our interests work with China, we work with China. If our interests dictate that we must work with the West, we work with the West. You know, it is a mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay.
I am very happy that we have a good relationship with the East. I am also very happy that we are now developing a good relationship with the West.